Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. I will be going over my normal schedule as per usual. I will also be covering some of the big movers today like TRON and RAIBLOCKS. But my normal schedule is Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, Neo, Vechain, Manero, Omisigo, Lisk, Cardano, and IOTA. All of those in that order. Any more detailed technical analysis on TradingView in just a second. Other than that, if you're interested in monthly cryptocurrency buying opportunities, you can check out my premium content. I've linked that in the description of this video. And if you're interested in trading altcoins, go check out Coinbase. They're the best exchange out there for that. I also have a link to them in the description of this video. Let's get started with the general market update. We can see that Bitcoin is moving back up slightly, now back above $15,000. Ripple regaining some strength here, up 4%. Ethereum getting close to that $1,000 mark. I called that in my previous daily crypto update. Bitcoin Cash still dropping here, down 7%. Cardano still doing pretty good. Tron got a massive move, up over 100%, now above 20 cents. I made a price prediction video on it yesterday, and it was only at 10 cents, so already doubled from there, and pretty amazing. If you're interested in getting my more detailed thoughts on Tron, go check out my price prediction video that I made yesterday, but I will be covering it in the technical analysis today as well. Otherwise, we've got Stellar pulling back a little bit. Litecoin still not doing great. And like I said, RAIBLOCKS, it took a pretty big dip yesterday. I actually was able to buy it very low, and it now bounced back up quite a bit. It's looking good here with the KuCoin listing that it just got, as well as the upcoming Binance listing that it should be able to win. If you haven't voted yet, make sure to do that. And I'm not going to go over all the coins, but Verge is doing pretty good. It's somewhat mixed actually today in the altcoin market, especially for some of the smaller altcoins out there. Some are doing well, some are doing bad. Overall, just a normal market day, except for Tron and RAIBLOCKS here that are making some pretty nice moves. We're going to get started right away with a technical analysis on Tron now. And what we can see here is, of course, our massive green breakout candlestick. I mean, we've been breaking out now since 2-3 days ago when we moved above 435 Satoshis. We started trading above the upper Bollinger Band, managed to get a couple days in, and of course our massive breakout candlestick where we put in our all-time high of 1,476 Satoshis. And on our current candlestick, we actually pulled back a little bit, and it's actually looking pretty decent. Just a couple minutes ago, it was a doji candlestick. I am inclined to say at this point that we're going to see a bit of a pullback here just because we're trading so much above the upper Bollinger Band that it's usually very hard to sustain that. And the fact that we're getting, a lower high, a little bit of a doji candlestick here, not the best sign. So we're probably going to see a pullback in the short term. We'll see if it'll come back, maybe bounce off the upper Bollinger Band. That definitely happens quite often for these type of moves, or it might even just re-enter the Bollinger Band range pretty quickly. Sooner rather than later, that has to happen, right? That's just how it is. And as far as the volume goes, really nice volume on this breakout, which is a great sign, right? We've actually had a lot of volume that was sustained throughout this whole move higher. MACD looking strong, histogram looking strong, and of course, trading very high up on the RSI. So all that I'm trying to say is I'm not bearish or anything, but in the short term, it does have to pull back here, right? This is a very, very overextended move. And I think that it'll drop back a bit lower, but overall I'm not really worried about Tron. And I think actually I might as well point out that it's confirmed my theory that I think it'll climb into that near that $50 billion market cap area pretty quickly at this point, especially by seeing how it's moving now. It kind of confirms, at least to me, that it really has the strength to do that at this point. So we're gonna go over now to Bitcoin Cash really quickly. Gonna give you an update on that and see what's been happening. So Bitcoin Cash still moving a little bit lower, relatively flat candlestick here at $2,323. Still moving lower, downtrending on that MACD histogram. RSI kind of flat. Basically, we're seeing a little bit of consolidation here, it looks like, in this area. We'll see if we lose the previous low of $2,284. If we do, we might move even a bit lower. I don't see it really going back down below $2,000. I think that we're probably just going to consolidate here a little bit longer. And if things do get worse, probably just going to bounce off that uptrend line. But what's for sure is it's definitely not acting great, right? It definitely is experiencing some weakness. That's undeniable at this point. And, it is what it is. Let's go over towards Bitcoin now to take a look at what it's been doing. Bitcoin is having a lot of trouble with that middle band, the brown line right here at $15,209. And that's where the majority of the resistance is coming from. We can see that on the previous 3 candlesticks. It didn't manage to get above that. With that being said, though, we are coming very close to a crossover on our MACD. and that's pretty much bound to happen at this point. That'll be the bullish signal when we're back in full bull mode, I guess you could say. And we're also getting close to that crossover towards the positive area on the histogram. RSI kind of flat around the 50 level. Nothing really to worry about. Basically, for the timing, I think we're going to hold the uptrend line. And like I said, we're going to probably trade in between this channel right here, between our current uptrend line and our previous uptrend line, as we move higher back towards, $16,000 basically. The first two signals that I want to see to confirm that we're back in bullish action is a move that holds above the middle band, as well as a crossover above the orange line on the MACD. So those are the two signals that I'll be looking out for. And we're going to move over next to Ethereum, which is definitely one of the stronger altcoins out there at the time being. It's been acting great, even throughout all the drama. It just consolidated a bit and now getting that nice breakout. I should actually go ahead and extend now our uptrend line, and we actually have a new short-term uptrend line that created itself. With that being said, we can see that we actually kind of lost this very short-term uptrend line with the current candlestick, where we're testing this upper Bollinger Band. That's it. We're trading at around $950 right now on Coinbase. Relatively flat around 73 on the RSI. We are still trading above 70 line, which is always good. Uptrending nicely on the MACD and histogram. Very strong volume throughout the move. Right now, what I would say is we are trading above this upper Bollinger Band. I think we put in the all-time high now of $994, so right above $1,000. And seeing how we lost this short-term uptrend line, as well as the fact that we're trading above the upper Bollinger Band, it looks like we do have pretty low volume on the current candlestick. That indicates to me that we're going to see a little bit of a pullback here, actually. So I'm going to be looking at this $877 area. To be honest, it might not even break below 900 again, but could definitely come back and test that $900 level. Maybe come back and test the uptrend line. I think in the short term here, it'll need to consolidate and pull back just a bit before we break above $1,000, which should be pretty soon. I think that definitely within the next, probably even 2 weeks, we could see that happen. Let's go over now towards Litecoin, and Litecoin's still acting very weak, actually looking even worse today, now that we broke back below the short-term uptrend line. Not what we wanted to see, and we even have now a short-term downtrend line that's in the making, basically. So we have our previous downtrend line and our new downtrend line, which is the current one. If we're not able to get back above the uptrend line and now this downtrend line, we're just going to continue moving lower. Now we even have a bit of a channel that we created in between these two downtrend lines, where we might trade even lower here. As we move back down, of course, there's going to be a lot of support at around that $200 area, between $200 and $207. If we lose those levels, it looks like we may even go back towards $161. Unfortunately, Litecoin is really not looking great here. Still downtrending on that MACD. Histogram looks like it wants to come back, but it is definitely kind of failing at that. Same thing with the MACD, really. And now we're losing some strength again, moving back below 50 on the RSI. So we want to make sure that we get above this uptrend line especially, and now it's not looking great again. So hopefully this is just a very short-term dip, but if we see that we really start trading lower once again, it could definitely take more of a hit here. Unfortunately, Litecoin definitely is experiencing a lot of weakness, to be honest. Let's go over towards Ripple now, and I should say I think that in part at least this weakness is coming from a lot of the competitors in the top 10, or competitors that are almost in the top 10 like RAIBLOCKS, which are kind of a threat to Litecoin. Now let's go over towards Ripple and take a look at how it's been acting. So got a very strong candlestick yesterday, went all the way up to $353, pulled back quite a bit. That was a very flat doji candlestick, and we're now currently putting in another doji candlestick. Weren't able to get back above the upper Bollinger Band, still not dropping just yet though. His MACD still looks pretty strong. Looks like we are topping off a little bit at 90 on the RSI, and now it looks like we have topped off a little bit on the histogram as well. And also putting in, it looks like our first bit of red volume in a couple days. So what that tells me is that we are going to probably see a bit of a pullback here for Ripple. We'll see if we're able to hold our short-term uptrend line. If we do, that's great. That means that we'll probably avoid any kind of bigger drop, but it has been going up, basically nonstop. It's getting a pretty big market cap very quickly. And I'm not bearish on Ripple, but it's just in the short term, I think that it probably does need to take a breather here. Maybe even move back to its lower levels. We'll see if it gets back to $2.50. I wouldn't even really consider that a full-on pullback for Ripple. I think that it would have to move getting close to $2 to really consider that a full pullback for Ripple. And who knows if that's going to happen, but it definitely will have to probably take a little bit of consolidation and a breather for the time being. We're going to go over now towards our next crypto, which is NEO. Take a look at what it's been up to. So NEO went all the way up to $118 on its previous candlestick, now pulling back, went below its current uptrend line, and we're currently trying to get back above it. That's going to be very hard because it is a very steep trend line. May not see that happen just yet, but the MACD and histogram are still looking pretty strong. Got a little bounce as well on the RSI. I should also point out that we have a little bit of a negative divergence here on the RSI actually, because we do have a bit more of a longer term downtrend happening now, and the price is uptrending. So it could mean that we're going to see a bit more of a drop again. I think we're probably going to consolidate around this $100 area, maybe slowly but surely move back up towards $100, but in the short term, I think we can't really get back above this uptrend line here. So we'll have to move a little bit more horizontally as we move back up, right? That's all I'm trying to say. Now we're going to go over towards our next crypto of the daily crypto update, which is Vechain. And let's see what it's been up to. I'm interested to take a look now. Still not acting great, unfortunately. So we're moving back lower into our range here between $7.21 and $6.35. Basically got a failed crossover of the MACD and histogram, it looks like. They didn't get that close, but definitely were trying to and didn't manage. So same thing on the RSI really, now moving back lower. We actually have a pretty severe downtrend on the RSI. Should go ahead and put that in. And also didn't really put in that longer term downtrend on the actual price. And what's funny is now that I drew that in, I can see that we do have a bit of a symmetrical triangle formation, which is interesting because, I don't know if you can see that, I'm going to go ahead and make these two lines a bit bigger so you get a clearer idea of what I'm talking about. But that's a symmetrical triangle of these two trend lines, and as we move now in between them, we're eventually either going to break to the downside or the upside, and that's going to be very critical on how it's going to set the trend for Vechain moving forward, right? If we break to the upside, then we avoided a disaster, but if we do break out of the symmetrical triangle towards the downside, probably losing that $6.35 resistance level, then things could be looking very bad for Vechain, right? At least getting down to $4.85. For the time being, though, we're probably just going to consolidate in the symmetrical triangle, so we'll just wait that to play through. And next up, we're going to move over to the next one, which is going to be Manero, I believe. And let's see what Manero has been up to. It looks like it was regaining strength yesterday, actually. So we'll see if that is continuing now. And it looks like we actually got a little bit of a weakness here. So we weren't really able to break and hold above $400. That created a double top formation there, and we actually pulled back quite a bit. So we are still holding support on our middle band. That's the brown line at $358 right over here. Bounced off that on the current candlestick, and as long as we hold above the middle band and that $355 level, that's fine. Even if we consolidate in between $355 and $400, no problem there. But looks like we regaining some weakness on the MACD here, kind of a failed crossover, flattening out on that histogram, not able to go positive, and we lost that 57 line on the RSI. So could definitely see some consolidation here for Manero. We're going to move over to our next crypto, which is OmiseGO. I need a checklist on my phone here because I just want to make sure that I'm doing this in the right order. Let's go over to OmiseGO. So looks like we're moving a little bit higher here. We did put in a little bit of a range, so a bit of consolidation, it looks like. We are also putting in a little bit of a short-term downtrend, it looks like, on the RSI, histogram, and MACD. And that's actually a bearish divergence compared to the price, right? Because we are uptrending on the price, and we have our indicators that are now putting in a little bit of a downtrend. So we'll see if they break out of that, but it isn't the best sign because it usually means that we're going to see a drop in the near future. And it is trying to come back up, but you have to be realistic, right? We have this uptrend line, this very steep uptrend line that's going to act as resistance, so it's not going to be easy to get back there just yet. At best here, we're going to move horizontally upwards, slowly but surely back above $20. But since there is quite a bit of resistance here, and it has taken a pretty nice move higher, could see a drop back down, maybe like what happened over here, to kind of stabilize things again. Because right now it's kind of hanging on pretty bad area, so to say. It's trying to get back above $20, not really able to. And if we see that it doesn't really make a move above $20 soon, probably going to see it drop back to at least the middle band, right? Now we're going to go over towards Lisk. And Lisk is still holding the uptrend line, but it is moving lower, consolidating a bit here. Still holding the middle band as well. Downtrending on the MACD, RSI, and histogram. Pretty strong, steady downtrends at this point. We're going to be making sure that we want to hold the uptrend line, right? The uptrend line on this trend line right here, as well as the middle band. That's a $20.49. The other thing that I want to point out for what's going on with Lisk right now is we can see the upper and lower Bollinger Bands contracting very quickly towards the price. What that usually means is that we're going to see some consolidation here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it maybe move horizontally through the uptrend line and then consolidate at around $20 as the Bollinger Bands create a pretty tight range. I think that's a pretty likely scenario here for Lisk. We're going to go over now towards Cardano. Cardano still moving higher once again, not able to put in a higher high though, which is important to notice because we do have now two pretty long upper wicks, which signals that people aren't really able to sustain these higher prices just yet. I should also point out that the all-time high is now at 9,180 Satoshis. Otherwise, the indicator is still looking pretty strong because we are putting in the green candlestick once again, so uptrending on all of those. We are, of course, very overextended on the RSI, however, trading above 90. So I think we're bound to see a bit of a pullback here. I think it's time. We're able to get several days now above the upper Bollinger Band range. We've done that before, but eventually it always comes back into the Bollinger Band range and consolidates, pulls back a little bit. I think that we're going to see this happen again this time around. And we'll see, there's going to be quite a bit of support around 7,000 Satoshis. So maybe it won't drop lower than that. Otherwise, a lot of support again at 6,000 Satoshis. So there's some pretty good support levels there and potentially a good area to buy on a pullback. I'll be keeping an eye out for that. That's not financial advice, that's just my opinion. Finally, we're going to move over towards IOTA and see if it's regaining some weakness. So it looks like we tried to move above $4, didn't really hold that well, and now we're hanging right on that $4 support level. So right about to cross over on that MACD, same thing on the histogram, and kind of failed to get above 60 on the RSI. We're just going to have to wait and see now if we're going to get a strong rejection on those indicators, which would be a very bad sign, right? That means that we completely failed the crossovers, or if we are indeed going to see some strength come in and we're going to get those crossovers, which would probably be combined with a strong increase in price. Or for now, though, we want to make sure that we hold above $4 and the middle band. If we fail those, we'll see the indicators flip lower and probably move back towards $3.42. So with that being said, everyone, this is the end of the daily crypto update. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.